All right, welcome back. You're still watching E-Vibes, the entertainment show on Signature TV. This is the conversation hour. And of course, I have I have an interesting guest here with us, and I'm sure you want to see who that is. He's an actor. He started as a model, and of course, he has won so many awards. Okay, yes. He is one of the lead actors in Tribe Called Judah, and of course, living in bondage, you know. And today we'll be talking about Nollywood, her impact on the past, present, and future of the industry. His name is Jide Kene. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. How are you doing?
Fine, I'm feeling small on this end. I feel so small on this end. All right, so you're a big celebrity, and sorry to say this. I told you before we started that Emeka in Tribe of Judah took your name in some kind of way.
Well, maybe to a large extent.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least you agreed with me a little bit. So can you walk us through your journey so far? Because when we go through your profile, it states a model and now an actor. At what point did you delve from being a model to being an actor?
Well, I think the one thing that is permanent in life is always change. So I'm always trying to, try out new things. I think I had a music track or an album. No, not an album. I had a track released last year with Rugged Man.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm still going to try to be a painter, So there's a lot of things that, it's fun to try out in life. So yeah, right now I'm a producer. So modeling to acting, I think happened in 2015 or 2014, one of the two. But
Yeah.
I just woke up one day and said, you know what, this one has a longer career mileage. So I'm going to pivot and try to do that one first, or more seriously. Yeah.
All right. So there's this particular movie that got my interest. I don't know if you remember a poker.
Messiah.
Thank you very much. That movie was shot in IMT.
Yes.
What was it like being on that particular scene?
Well, that was my first ever lead role film, like English speaking film.
Yes.
Yeah, it was my first ever lead role, and it was very massive. Had over 250 people as just cast. There were lots of big celebrities on that project, so it definitely didn't feel real for me at the time, but I just, in hindsight, I would say that I had always known that things will get green, so you have to at all points give your best.
Yeah.
But going back to watch it, I'm very proud of it. It was my very first time having so much lines.
And you did great, actually. You did
I
great.
haven't seen it sometime.
The way you had to stand up to those, he called it fraternity or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
The way you're able to stand up to that, I like. For that to be your first role,
Yeah, it was.
you actually have it in you.
Thank
So
you.
let's talk about you and what your experience when you got to the spotlight. Like you said, Poker Messiah was your first. So what was it like? How did you feel when you got to the spotlight? You know what I mean by me? Yeah. And I think not a tribe called Judah, Living in Bondage was the one that gave you the award in AMVC,
Yes.
Best Lead Actor. So how was it like when you got to that point?
Well, lots of times people have dreams. I like to refer to Enugu as the city of dreams. A lot of people here, give them 5 years and they will be all over the world doing different things. So when I used to live here when I made Living in Bondage, so I hadn't relocated to Lagos or to any other place in the world.
Yeah.
So just going there, I've been going to Lagos for like 7 years before that time, just going to model, trying to act, trying to do things, auditions. So it just felt like, full circle moment. Where you're very proud of yourself, but as a very focused person, your biggest headache, your biggest problem is, can I sustain this? Not enjoying the moment. I don't think I ever took 1 second to enjoy the moment. And even shortly after the award, which I won a Trailblazer award.
Yeah.
Yeah, immediately after the award, COVID hit.
Yeah.
So it also gave me like...
That was 2020.
Yeah, it also gave me like, don't get too excited kind of...
You need to work
nudge.
harder.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you didn't feel like, Well, I like your spirit, honestly, because there are people that would feel so fly. Not that they're going to step down, but of course they would feel so fly. But I like the fact that you have to understand that, okay, this is time to work harder and all. So let's delve into the topic of today.
Okay.
Right? Tell me, what do you think about Nollywood? Do you think that they've grown? Do you think that they've gotten to that point? You know, like we have the AMVCA award and all. Do you think that we stand a chance to, compete with the diasporas and those abroad, Bollywood, Hollywood, compete with them and maybe win something? Do you think our movie has gotten there?
Well, because there's always space for improvement. I mean, massive space, not just a little space, because we still have a long way to go. I would say that looking at Nollywood with the inception dated back to the times of Things Fall Apart, Living in Bondage, we've gone from language films to, should we say, international films. That doesn't mean that an Igbo film can't do well internationally. I'm just saying we've gone from making films for ourselves alone to making films for the world. So I would say that we've come a very long way. We've gotten better with the graphics. We've gotten better with cinematography. We've gotten better with the acting. We no longer have only people who are typecast in films. We've morphed. We've become more of a global thing now. So what I would say is we've come a very long way, but there's still much longer way to go, and we can definitely stand on our own these days. Stand on our own or stand against the international standard. We can do that now. I say that knowing that a few projects have been accepted into international carnivals and festivals. So I do realize that we have a section of the industry that can definitely go toe to toe. But what we are missing is just the should I say, the fragrance of African storytelling.
You mean like the epic movies?
Not necessarily epic. We have history.
Okay.
We have the stories that what happened in Aburi. We have what happened in the 1960s.
Yeah.
We have stories that happened when Zeke did that. So we have a lot of traditional heritage that we have not yet tapped into. And a lot of American studios are doing that for us now with the Woman King and the likes of it. So we have a long way to go, and the promise is good.
Like you just said, we have a lot of historical movies that we've not really added fragrance to. Would you say that we've diverted a little bit? During the time of Nkemuwo and the likes, Patience Ezokwan, or we always create movies that are comedy more like, and they tell real life stories. Not really scary or horror, but they tell stories of blood money, and of course you would agree with me that some of them happened real. But will you say that we've diverted, we've forgotten what we're supposed to do, and we are doing something else?
I think we're experimenting. I think I would say that Nollywood is currently at an experimental stage, because we can't say we have done anything in the horror genre. We can't say we have exactly made the most comical thing ever. We've had a little bit of character-driven stories, like Okwa, Sofa in London, Mr. Ibu. It's always been character-driven, which means the actor is the central figure. So we're still learning the art of cinema. We're still understanding that sometimes it's a director's film, sometimes it's the script. Like Titanic, no matter who you put as the actor, it will be a good film.
Yes,
because
of the name.
it's about a milestone in history. So we're getting there. So what I would say is, we haven't diverted. We're experimenting. We're exploring. We're expanding, expatiating. Because look at the likes of the veterans, who are very much still here, by the way. If you look at the transcendence of their careers, you can agree that we've gone from just making comedies that only people in our localities can understand, to now understanding that we can tell films like Hijack 93, things that the world can watch. So we're finding our feet. Let's think of ourselves as either adolescents or,
Young
older
adults.
teenager, something like that.
Talking about those comedy movies, it's people abroad watch it more than we do, honestly. And our epic movies, I'm talking about the real village movies where we tie rapper, they watch it abroad more than we do. Because when you go through comment sections, people will be like, I think I miss epic movies, yes, we're getting used to Netflix, cinema movies, and the likes. But sometimes people are like, can they try bringing Epic? You know, would you say that Epic would maybe put us there? Like you say, we are young adults, adolescents. Would you say that Epic would put us there? That maybe one day they'll pick us one of our movies and say, okay, Nigeria won this award for this particular movie.
Well, I would just say that that market cannot die.
Okay.
The market that makes local films, the way we address it as Alaba market films, it cannot die. They are currently even morphing into other industries. A lot of them are very hugely represented now in the YouTube streaming platform. You know, so they may not make movies with a lot of budget like the cinema movies.
Yeah.
You know, it may take a few days or fewer days than the other ones, but there's a large population that still buys those kind of movies,
Yeah.
especially Nigerians who work from home in diaspora, or even non-Nigerians who love Nigerian content. But you see, so that's why I know that that's a faction of Nollywood. Nollywood is very big. You know, the people
Very
that make
big.
the ones for TV, Iroko, Africa Magic, people that make for the cinemas, people that make for streaming. So that being said, I think we are currently feeding that market, but the difference is we're not in that era where that is the mainstream or that is the only stream. You know, as you know, back in the day, renting DVD was the only stream.
Yeah.
You know, so there's multiple streams now, and the people who are on the internet, who have access to X, Instagram, are
Yeah.
asking for those films.
Yes.
But they actually exist. If you look at almost all the legendary films, they're all on YouTube. Living in Bondage, the first one, they're there. So maybe they should just look in the right places. But
Right.
in terms of circulation, what is circulating now is new media, which is, you know, more expensive backgrounds,
Yeah.
sets, you know, stuff like that. Yeah.
I totally agree with you. Let's talk about A Tribe Called Judah. You actually played the good son
Yeah.
in that scene, but what broke our hearts was that you died in that scene.
I feel like this is everybody's complaint.
Yes,
Yeah.
because why exactly? You know, why would the good son be the, what they call it now? The lamb that is used. What's that Bible portion?
Sacrificial lamb.
The sacrificial
Okay.
lamb. Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk to us. How was it? You know, playing that particular role. Sorry, particular role. How was it playing that role for you?
Well, I'm always very happy to represent the Igbo-ness or the Igbo man. You know, it's one language I have a very strong command of. You know,
Yeah.
maybe even better than I can speak English. You know, Igbo lets you just be you. You know, in terms of being a first son, being a responsible son, whatever it is that, you know, amplifies what it is to be an Igbo boy or an Igbo girl. It's always welcomed by anybody who understands the culture, the language, and the heritage. So being a Mecca Judah was a phenomenal experience, especially, you know, working with really great actors from other parts of Nigeria, which has always been my dream. You know, let there be an Hausa person in there, cross-Riverian person, you know, somebody from the Middle Belt, somebody from the West. You know, let's just make the best dish for the entire country. And Funke Akindele was very smart to have always, you know, understood the assignment. So when they offered me the role and, you know, we got to set, I understood the assignment, which is be somebody that everybody would like enough so that when the character dies, you guys will feel what you felt.
Honestly.
So I understood that, you know, Emeka had to be very lovable, likable, you know. Yeah, you want him to be your other brother, but you also know he does too much, you know, just a little bit of everything. So yeah, it was, thank God for experience of movies like Poker Messiah, Living in Bondage that I could count on to be able to, you know, come into that character.
You know, that Living in Bondage brought out the Igbo guy in you. In fact, I think he used Igbo language to finish us in that particular movie, especially when you got the gig to travel out of the East.
Yeah.
And I think it was 2 million naira they offered you or something.
I think it was 5 million.
They were about, but it was in millions actually. And I know it's a movie.
Yeah.
Right? But how do you feel to realize that your father that you've been wanting to know about is a priest? And he had something to do with
the fraternities.
Thank you very much.
Well, you know, to be able to interpret any character, you have to completely understand the story. So I think I was more so fascinated by the fact that I get to be a part of Living in Bondage franchise, which I know you guys or Nigerians or the world hasn't seen the last installment of. You know, there's still going to be more
More.
installments of Living in Bondage.
Yeah.
So just to be able to say, oh, it's like saying, oh, I was the Godfather in that Godfather movie at one point. You know, it's always going to be a hallmark thing. So I think, you know, it was just beautiful to be part of history. You know, it's big. It's the film that they say began Nollywood. So honestly, I would just say, you know, as when it goes for feeling or how it felt, just blessing and gratitude all the way. You know, and yes, the script wanted, the director specifically wanted Inglibo. You know, so we had to give him what he wanted. You know, and he was very intentional about creating that language attachment.
Yeah.
You know, so it's great to see that people really did love that aspect.
And I would say he picked the right person for that role. You know,
Maybe.
because you always feature in Igbo films and you do your best. So picking you for that role was the best you could do.
Before then, I don't think he had seen me in many Igbo films.
You see, so I think Grace was speaking. What do you think?
There was lots of auditions as well.
Okay.
Preparedness would always meet opportunity, right?
Yeah. You're more of a motivational speaker. All right, so who was your source of inspiration? Because you are a model. You're still a model, right?
Sometimes.
Okay. You're sometimes a model. So, before you decided to go into acting, who inspired you?
A lot of people actually. My first love has always been radio, you know, because I'm a very private person, and if you could work from an office where there's no cameras, just your voice, I feel like that was perfect, you know. But I've had a lot of influences along the line. NS2B, Hank Sanuku, Sentobi of blessed memory, to mention a few, you know. So I think it's just been, you know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, because you know, old Nollywood, or just a few years ago in Nollywood, most people were typecast, if not everybody. You know, if you're gonna do only action, only comedy, you know. So you got to take a little bit of that and also impute about 50%, if not more, of personality of who you are to be able to break into, like, you know, new markets or new roles or new genres. So I would say a lot of people did influence me at certain points. One of the biggest influences also is the movie Across the Border. You know, immediately I saw that Nigeria and South Africa, I was very excited. You know, I've always loved to work on big projects only. You know, I love it. I just cannot make 200 movies of the same story every time. So I have to stay excited. Yeah.
That's great. So what advice would you give to up-and-coming actors? I'm thinking of going into acting.
I would say that
what advice did you give to
things
me?
has changed. Before, you gather at audition grounds, you know, so now you send monologues. Now you make self-tapes and you send that across, right?
Yeah.
So what I would say to everybody that is young, everybody that is young, up and coming, I would say, first things first, pick and choose. What do you want to do? You know, entertainment is very broad, and nowadays everybody's a celebrity. You know, once you can tape what you're doing well and put it on the internet, people will follow you, and that's being described as being a celebrity. I like to think of myself as an artist more so than a celebrity, because I don't know what that means. You know, I never want to lose freedom of being able to walk through spaces. You know, but what I would say to young people is, don't be jealous or hypocritical or too, like, everything is not good enough for you. Like, oh, I could do better. I could do better. I can do better. Don't do that. You know, just focus on the people you want to connect with, the people that you want to grow with. Focus on them. Watch what they're doing. Always rehearse. Remember that opportunity that meets preparedness, that's what people call luck.
Okay.
So if you're able to do that, watch out, and, you know, just always do monologues, post them, send to directors, send to people, you know, and you never can tell when the opportunity comes. Yeah.
We have a motivator. He's not just a model actor. He said he has a music. He's an act. You're what? a
I'm everything.
musician, an
I'm a
artist,
producer
he's
now too.
everything, a producer, literally everything. So when he's giving you a motivational quote, you should accept it with good faith.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So there's this other movie that I loved so much. You acted as a best friend in Can't Believe,
Oh yeah.
and you acted with Nancy Seymour. It's a movie. But you know, I see movies like reality
Yeah,
most
it's a
times.
reflection of reality.
Yeah, so you know, you're best friend to somebody, and you were in love with her.
Was I?
Kinda.
We were in love with each other, but we just didn't realize it on time.
I think you were in love with her. I think you were in love with her,
Okay,
actually.
if you say so.
Yeah. So how did you go through that script? You know, we once had an actor, and they had to explain to us how you have this conversation with the person you're meant to do this thing with. Did you at some point do that with her? Did you rehearse with her? Did you get to know her? Go out to build that chemistry?
I think Can't Believe is probably the best romantic comedy of the last decade or thereabout. You know, there's been lots of romantic comedies. Nigeria, we haven't really hit the hammer on the nail when it comes to rom-coms. You know, we're still trying to find out how to do it, you know, but I think Can't Believe is a perfect example of, you know, what a romantic comedy should feel like, especially because I would like to say you won't see it coming.
Okay.
You know, I may be deceiving myself. Many people might have seen it coming, but
Yeah.
you know, I like to think about it like that. You know, just like realizing that, oh, what I want is actually right here. You know, so when I got the script with big productions, there's always conversations, script readings, rehearsals, and everything. Director will ask you, you know. So I think at the end of the day, it was just an issue of screen chemistry.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what it is. And you know, besides, when you work with people that you think are great people or cool people, the likely chance of the vibes being on point, it's high.
All right. So this is where we end the conversation, but we have some games to play with you. Quite simple games.
Okay.
We're gonna play social media abbreviation.
Hi.
I know you say you're not a Gen Z, but it's fine.
Okay, fine.
So what's the full meaning of LWKMD?
LWKMD. Laugh one, kill me, die.
Oh my guy.
Please try harder, John. What's
Oh really? Must be nice. Okay. TTYL.
Talk to you later. Is there another game?
If you like say I'm bringing.
You didn't really prepare it hard.
Okay, let me think of something else. Of course, you know this one. OOTD.
OOTD?
Yes.
What is that? Okay, hold on. Give me clues.
OOTD.
Any clues? Maybe just one word.
Okay. D. D is D.
The last
Yes.
letter is what you gave me.
Yes.
You didn't give me. From the
Yes.
start.
You said I should try harder. So.
Okay, I don't know that one.
Outfit of the day.
Oh, I don't do that. That's some Gen Z stuff.
Oh, now you say it's a Gen Z stuff. I see.
Okay.
Okay, GWRM.
Get ready with me.
You know that, but you don't know outfit of the day.
It's always on
You
caption.
did very great. Let me ask you one more question. Name 3 fruits that have just one seed inside.
Mango.
1,
Avocado.
2.
Come on. Just one seed inside. Wow, the third one is hard.
Think.
Everything that's going to my head has multiple seeds in them.
You know, there's this one that is actually this is
Coconut?
season. The
No,
nuts,
that's
really.
This is the season of what?
Ncheku.
Icheku.
Yes.
Does that have, oh, is that really a fruit?
What is it then?
We have to leave it to the viewers to decide. So
Okay.
we don't embarrass ourselves.
You know, that fruit has a very long name that I don't want to embarrass myself right now to pronounce.
In English or what?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay.
I swear. So let's ask one more question. Name 3 things an employer is not supposed to do in the office.
What kind of office though?
office segment, corporate office.
Office romance.
One.
It's not good for business.
But they do it though.
Yeah, but they shouldn't do it.
Why?
It's bad for business.
Why?
It's very bad to bring personal feelings into the workspace.
But you used to see them marry. They used to marry at the end of the day. So are you saying it's a bad thing?
I can't say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's bad for business.
Mm-hmm.
He said it's bad for business.
Especially for married people, it's worse.
Oh. Okay, name another thing.
Bad for office. Bad for the office. I would say personal divulging personal information. Like those are just your colleagues, not your friends.
Okay, sharing personal information.
Oversharing, yes.
Okay, but it's not bad for business now.
I do. Is it just bad for the office?
Yes, these are rules that people are breaking every single day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's bad for the office space. It's not. It's not. Yeah, oversharing is not. It's not necessary.
Okay, name the third one. I'm not convinced by that one, Sha.
Lack of ethics, like the basic mannerisms, and
Like fighting.
knowing how to talk to a person, whether it's
Okay.
your junior or your senior. Understanding what it takes to operate in a professional manner.
Me, I'll say my own number one, sleeping in the office. It's bad for business. Pressing your phone in the office is bad for business.
Okay. Number
Do
three.
you, number three, okay, I agree with you. Romance in the office.
You can't take any of my options.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah.
Okay,
Next episode, you can tell them.
okay.
Okay.
So we had so much fun with you, Jide Kene. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.
I hope you had fun with me too.
I did. I'm very excited.
Well,
Yeah.
great. So this is where we draw the curtain. The show has come to an end. Join us same time tomorrow for more exciting stories and of course conversations. I didn't review social trends to you today, but I'll do that maybe next week or tomorrow. So keep your fingers crossed. You don't know what's coming up tomorrow. I remain your baby girl, Queen Net Smoke Hunter. Join us same time, same station. Don't forget to tune in on 265 on SLTV. Follow us on all our social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.